I didn't know if, I know we need to get started. Part of some of these cases will be if we know when we think we're going to be coming back. Are we going to talk about that later? Of when,
Well, this one's been reset. This is the third time.
well, I think we're having a hearing today, but on this one. So,
Well, we're not because we have a court reporter. I mean, we have, and we've already gone over our 15 minutes.
oh, okay.
So if we're going to do it, it's going to be at the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
So, because I don't know about I mean, I don't know which ones are we going to go on these trials.
Can we maybe just with the lawyers and CASA just go talk on some procedural stuff real quick? I know we took up our time, but that might help.
Everybody else.
I didn't mean on this case. I meant if we were, you said at the end of the day, but if we know when, because I know we have to reschedule all the ones from this morning. So I didn't know if maybe we knew when we're coming back.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's between you, me, and Mr. Sturmer.
Okay. Okay. So just come back at the end on this one.
Everybody else can get a sub or whatever.
Okay. Gotcha.
Y'all are, I've already looked. I was seeing if you were lied on some of them, but you are. And, we're kind of,
we'll talk.
We got issues. So,
shouldn't take long, right?
Judge, this is where I need to announce my not screw up, but screw up. So I did what you asked. I did the Rule 11 agreement. I've drafted it up. I went to my client in jail. I went over it with him. He signed it. It was the general terms I circulated and everybody was kind of cool with them. And I'm in the process of moving my office, and I saw that document last week and I was like, I need to circulate that for signature. And I can't find it right this second. It's either in this office or it's in my home office, but I have it. I have the terms of it, and I could just read them out and then circulate it for signature, however you would like for me to do that. But I do have a hard copy with my client's signature on it in my possession, theoretically.
Well, you have it on your email, right?
I don't have his signed version.
I know, but terms of it on your email or somewhere.
Yes.
I'm okay as long as you just want to put the agreement on the record and you can find it later.
Lovely. I can do that.
Because we take your word that he signed it or that's the agreement. So, okay.
Yeah, I would never lie about that.
What about, yeah, I know. What about the mom?
I thought everything else has been pretty done.
Yeah, we did a deal on everybody else.
Okay, so, but I do want to go on and put that on the record. But I'll put agreement. Okay. Did I see on e-file y'all have a MSA for somebody, for dad maybe?
We did.
Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
Irrevocable.
Well, the issue, Your Honor, is that it was based on him signing an affidavit of relinquishment, and he decided that he did not want to sign the affidavit of relinquishment. So
he signed the MSA?
Yeah, he did. Yes, because we weren't in person for mediation.
We haven't been in person for mediation in 4 years? Why does that make a difference?
Because he can't sign the affidavit of relinquishment while we're in mediation because it's virtual.
I thought
and witnesses and so whenever he went to go actually sign it, he then decided he was no longer going to sign it.
The mother show up?
The mother showed up, yes.
Was there a lawyer?
I wasn't in that room, but I did ask Andrew, and he said that there was a lawyer there.
There was for a while, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
A while.
Well, I don't know what happened. I shouldn't speak to that. I don't know but we did not get an agreement with them. So we thought today was just going to be with mom. We do have a signed MSA from dad, but not a signed relinquishment. It is going to be contested.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, well, all I know is I can't tell the department versus Perry Hoover what time we're going to go. I guess y'all stay on YouTube and watch, and sounds like we'll just kind of start, and I mean, we'll have to start and recess on Bear. Already extension, and we're looking at the dismissal date. So y'all just be on hold, I guess. Can't tell you anything else.
Are the parties here on Hoover? I didn't see them. Are they in the waiting room?
Yeah, I'm tempted to go right now just because they're not here, but I got a million lawyers. But it's not fair to the rest of the lawyers on the docket. So, we'll just see y'all in a little while. Okay, where is Brandon Vega? Is he here?
Yes, I'm here.
You're here? Okay,
yes.
Thank you. Okay, this is a permanency hearing. Let's see, Gentry's with fictive kinship folks in Bosque County. Looks like I have that the mom hadn't really done anything on her service plan, that Mr. Vermeer has been doing well. Y'all been talking about increasing visits. Some people are requesting a monitored return. I think we need to do some step-up visits. And that's what I have. Mr. Shermer, what do you need today?
Judge, we're asking for a monitor return today, but we understand that if you think we need to start step-up visits before monitor return, we'll defer to you on that, but that is our recommendation, and that's based off of the father's progress in services and his therapist recommending that monitor return.
Okay, I'll wait and hear from the items. Okay, thank you. Ms. Wheeler, anything?
Yes, Judge, my client is here. I mean, she knows where we're at in the case. She knows that she's had a really slow start to things. She has been trying to get into inpatient therapy since January. That's something she's been in communication with me about. And I actually thought she had already gotten into inpatient. I didn't think there would be any struggle with that, but her understanding of that is that the department was not going to provide any assistance on that. So it's been sort of a struggle with her global family trying to come up with the funds. And so I don't know if we need to go do another OSAR in order to qualify to get this, or if you as the court can just pay for mom, or can not you just pay, but order the mom go to inpatient and then the department pay for that as we do in any other case. I mean, we knew that addiction was an issue in this case, from the very beginning, and mom is owning that. And she wants to get it taken care of, but she's struggling to come up with the means to do this on her own. So it's kind of the biggest thing that I did not know was a hiccup until literally today, or I would have sent emails previously.
Does she not have any type of insurance, Medicaid, or anything that's going to be able to pay for it?
I don't think so. She's on.
And also, Miss Trina, Miss Wheeler, have we sent you the list of all of the rehab places in Texas that CPS made for me one day?
No, I don't have this list, but I would love to get my hands on it.
I'm making myself a note. It's long. I'll send it to your email later. I don't believe Michelle wants it too. Okay. How do we pay? That's a really good question. How do we? Does the state pay for these rehabs, like Christian Treehouse Farms or a Serenity House? I mean, who pays for those? Department? Who knows the answer to that? I've never been asked to pay for. I've never asked for the department to pay for one before.
I mean, we have clients go all the time in the department. I don't know if it's like a 2054 situation, like with any other service.
So they have to complete our assessment, and they have to be referred to inpatient. If they have insurance, though, they would have to pay out of pocket or pay whatever the insurance doesn't cover. Other than that, we pay for it.
We the department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Miss Wilburn, do you have any type of insurance or anything that could cover that? Did she? Miss Wilburn, you need to show your face. And I don't know, is Mr. Vermeer showing his face? No. Parents on the Vermeer case.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't figure out how to unmute it or start the video. I just figured it out, though. Okay. No, I do not have any insurance at this time.
Okay. Mr. Vermeer, you need to show your face. This is court. Or everybody can come to Gatesville on another day. Mr. Dennis.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's not paying attention.
I'm not sure why he's not turning his phone on.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, You gone, please.
What? Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Doesn't seem to be working. So what?
Oh, did he drop off?
No, he's here. He's showing his
Oh, there he
face.
is. Okay.
Okay.
He moved on my screen.
Miss Mouton, she needs to have another OSAR, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody's got a bunch of background noise. Who is that?
It's probably me, Judge.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. She needs to complete another OSTAR. And my video is moving slow. That's why I'm kind of going on and off of the video. But yes, ma'am.
Okay. The problem is going to be, Miss Wheeler, is she going to, what's the OSAR going to say? Does she need therapy? Does she need inpatient? Does she need IOP? We don't know what an OSAR is going to say, depending on her latest use, et cetera.
I know that we don't know what it's going to say. I know that, for example, ADAC down here in Southeast Texas, they will allow lawyers to participate in that process with their clients. And so if that's something that my client wishes me to do, I'm happy to do that. I think that depending upon usage and history of usage, I'm no expert. I don't work for ADAC, but my client knows her history, and everyone in this case knows her history. I could see the odds being good that they would recommend inpatient. A lot of times if a client doubles down on I just can't go to inpatient because of life's practicalities, they'll let them slide with IOP. But I don't anticipate there being a problem getting a recommendation for inpatient, especially when a client is serious about it and has been trying to get into it for, at least over a month that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, here's what I have written down. Mom complete another OSAR and successfully complete inpatient. Mom's attorney may attend the OSAR evaluation. I'm going to say do another OSAR by end of the month. Okay. So you at least will have a court order that says that, Ms. Wheeler. Anything else from y'all?
Not that I can think of at this moment, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, what do y'all need?
Your Honor, my client is ready for his monitored return. I did have one little thing that I wanted to talk about, but it sounds like maybe that's not starting today. Are you going to be ordering stepped up?
Well,
so
why don't you
hold Judge
till I talk to the ad litem's, okay?
Okay. Well, in anticipation of that, let me say this. Mr. Vermeer's father is, to my understanding, going to die soon. And I don't know where his father is, but he would like to discuss the possibility of taking her to meet his father or have being down there so that he can see his father. And if a monitored return starts, I think we just wanted to be upfront with the court about that possibility, but I don't know where his father is. So can I ask him real quick, Judge?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jared, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Where is your father located?
Chicago.
Okay. So I think that's something we'll have to discuss with the ad litem's, Judge, if and when a monitored return comes. And then obviously get your permission if everyone's in agreement.
Yeah. Mr. Vermeer, what's your dad's prognosis? Give me the information, please.
He's got stage 4 colon cancer and lung cancer right now.
Okay. Is he on hospice? Where are we at in that regard?
Yeah, he's on oxygen full time right now. He's actually living with my grandmother, and he has nurses he has to go see. He has to go to a cancer treatment center every so many days, like every few days. So yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay. When's the last time you've been up there to see him?
Probably 3.5, 4 months ago.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Dennis, hold that thought. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, sir?
No. Just that he's done everything he's been required to, and we're ready to start that monitored return, Judge.
Okay. Miss Allen, Miss Claire, what do y'all think about the monitored return? Do we need to do baby steps for overnight visits, weekends? What do y'all think?
Judge, we'd like to see 2 weekend visits happen before the monitored return starts. We've had 2 overnight visits now, and we think that waiting, if we did 2 weekend visits and then started, we'd recommend a start date of February 23rd. That would give us time to wrap up the kind of remaining pieces that we want to see. Gentry's had some issues with a UTI and yeast infection. It seems to be clearing up, but that's something we're wanting to continue to monitor over the next couple of weeks. That would give us time to assist Jared with getting her enrolled in school. And that would give him time to formalize plans for childcare. He has a sitter in mind, is my understanding. I believe the department's going to run a background check. But then we'll kind of be able to get all those pieces in place and make sure she has a strong start. But we agree, Jared has done all of his services. He did an additional family violence prevention course for CASA that we had requested he do, that he was not required to do. It would also, we think the weekend visits would help Gentry get used to sleeping in her own bed, because it's been hard for her. And it was hard for her when she was removed initially. So just to help her with that transition.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Allen. Ms. Mistick, what do you think?
Judge, I'm also in agreement with Costa's plan. I know that his job's going to be where he's, I think, going to be working midnight to 1 a.m. And so with Lizzie talking about a caretaker, you know, who that's going to be, that kind of thing. I think that next couple weeks, you know, would be able to allow to get that in place, plus that bonding. I know that the caregiver said that Gentry loves visiting with her dad. Little concern about her sleeping with him, not just because she needs to get used to her own bed. You know, we've all been through that where we have our kids that it's hard to sometimes push them out of the bed, but I'm kind of I'm in agreement with that plan. If it's only 2 weeks, I think that's good. And then I think going to Chicago after that, unless he was looking at that sooner, but that's where I am.
Yeah. Mr. Dennis?
Yes, Your Honor.
I was supposed to approve any out-of-state travel. Yes. So, but
do you want to say something? Did you guys discuss something
another thing
that you want to talk about, or do you want to?
Can you lower that?
The way we've been going.
Sorry, Judge.
I will obviously approve. I have to approve the out-of-state travel, and I'll obviously, you know, once we get a plan, I got to have plane flights, times, dates, all that stuff. So once, yeah, I agree. We should start that once we do that pretty quick once we get the monitor return going. So in addition to the mother's orders that I previously read, I'm going to say monitor return with Mr. Vermeer as agreed by CPS and Ed Adams. I like the plan that y'all have. I think that sounds great. It's good for Gentry. Parents, y'all have a service plan. You have to comply. Your parental rights can be subject to termination. Ms. Wilburn, you need to get on this ASAP, because pretty soon we are about to go on a 6-month monitor return, and that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to do your inpatient and to give you time to prove your sobriety. Our next hearing is 5/1. It's a trial. We're not going to have a trial 5/1. If we go to monitor return, we'll have a court date before then. But I got to tell y'all that now. So anyway, that's the plan, and sounds like a good idea. Thank y'all. Y'all excused. That permanency hearing. We are in a monitored return. Couple things I got from reading the reports is that Troy wants his bowling ball back from Oklahoma, and I thought that was cute. That'll be a fun postage, but we can get that figured out. Lori's here. Thank y'all for coming today. This is loads of fun. Lori just put something, I think, in chat. Let me see what it says.
I think she's relogging in. Her audio's not working.
Oh, okay. Okay. Lori is getting adjusted to her school. Grace is, and Troy baseball team. I think it's baseball. That's really cool. I like our kids involved in athletics. That's important. Lori's getting adjusted to her school. Grace is making friends, and everybody's, thinking they want to probably change some activities that they enjoyed in Oklahoma, but they might not like it here. I got it. Everything's different. There's been some debate about talking to fosters. I have an opinion about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But basically, the parents and the kiddos are doing well, getting adjusted back in the home, and I think things are great. So, at least in that regard. So, Mr. Sturmer, what do you need today?
Judge, I'd just like to call Raven Cheney briefly.
Okay, please.
Ms. Cheney, is there anything that you need to make the court aware of that's not included in your report?
No, sir.
Okay, and then I know this is going to come up, but what's the department's position on the children talking to the former placement?
Based on therapist recommendations from Ms. Fields and Ms. Hale's representation of the type of communication the children received, while they were in the Mertz home, it is not the department's suggestion that communication continue unless it is seen or monitored by Ms. McClure or the department.
Okay. Any other recommendations that the department needs to give today?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Cheney? Ms. McClure?
Yes, briefly, Judge. Ms. Cheney, can you tell us how the children are doing? Are they doing well in their monitored return?
Yeah, so the kiddos, I've been out there every week. The kiddos have been doing really well. They all seem really happy when I'm over there. Lori has her lizard that she's happy to be reunified with. Troy's in baseball and always busy. So when I get over there, he's pretty tired after practice. And Grace seems to have fallen right back into her old patterns with her friends, and she seems very happy to be home. The parents have also been on top of every service before I've even been able to give them an idea of the next step. They've completed it before I've gotten a hold of it.
So would it be fair to say that you were quite pleased with the children's progress and the parents' progress?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the CASA report had a request, a concern, and a recommendation regarding this foster placement and communication. You've already said what the department's stance is. They are concerned about the abrupt disruption in communication with the Mertz family. Do you share that concern?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe that there have been any negative consequences from that disruption?
Yes. The children experienced a situation where they found out that trusted adults had been lying to them. And I think that's really damaged their ability to trust the process and what is going on moving forward. And I don't think that adding a third party back into this would be beneficial for their mental health at this time.
So you don't see any negative consequences for there to not be open communication?
Oh, no, ma'am, not at all.
They are requesting this. Did the children ever express to you any request for unfettered communication with the Mertz family?
No, ma'am.
In fact, let's talk about 129, I believe it was, whenever you were over at the house. Was I on the phone with you being present in the home?
Yes, ma'am.
And did I read the CASA report to Grace and Lori and read to them the part about the request for access to the Mertzes?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you describe how they reacted when they heard about this request?
The children were quite upset with the request. Neither of them wanted access to the Mertz family. In fact, they actually cut you off before you were able to complete your sentence, stating that they did not want communication in any facet.
So apparently they're not the ones that made that request then.
Yes, ma'am.
With Troy, how did that go? Can you tell us how he reacted whenever he was read that?
Troy was more mellow in his response. He did state that he did not request unfettered access, more that he wanted the ability to communicate via Facebook publicly to talk about hunting with Mr. Mertz.
And in fact, at this point, that is allowed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did he confirm, with my hearing it and you being there, did he confirm that that's what he wanted to have continue?
Yes.
Did CASA ever ask you what you thought about this unfettered access to the Mertz family before they made their request?
No, ma'am.
Do you think it's odd that CASA keeps in contact with the Mertzes after the monitored return has begun?
I think that based on the way things ended with the Mertz family, it is not beneficial to continue communication with a foster family that caused a lot of disruptions and upheaval with the children's mental health.
Would the CPS, God forbid there be a monitored return disruption in this case, would CPS ever consider placing these children back with the Mertz family?
No, ma'am.
So they're not even on the radar as a possible placement ever?
No, ma'am.
So therefore there would be no reason to continue to have communication with the Mertz family?
Correct.
One last topic. There was an incident at the home on 12/27. You were there, I was there, CASA was there. Can you tell us kind of where you were in the room and what happened that day?
Okay, so in the room, it was Mr. Gallagher, Miss Fuquay, Troy, you, myself. I was sitting with my back facing CASA, Mr. Lee, and Mr. First. And we were discussing kind of case updates, how things kind of got to where they were without being overly forthcoming of information in front of the children to not re-traumatize them. And then Mr. First began to ask quite abrupt and pointed questions towards you, Miss McClure.
Stop. Can y'all understand, Miss Cheney?
Yes, I understand her.
Wait a minute. Wait, stop. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't understand a word she said. Miss Cheney, back up. Say it again.
Okay. Of course. So on 12/27, we had a meeting in the home, and we were all sitting in the living room. Mr. Gallagher, Miss Fuquay, Troy, Miss McClure, myself, and then I had my back to Kevin Lee and Mr. First, the other CASA representative. During our conversation, we discussed a little bit about how we got to where we were in regards to how the children were feeling. We didn't get into deep details because we didn't want to re-traumatize the children. But it was at this time that Mr. First began to ask kind of pointed confrontational questions towards Miss McClure about the therapy records and how we kind of came to the decision of a monitored return with Troy present in the room.
And would you describe the mood from Mr. First at that point?
It was quite hostile. He did not seem to appreciate and approve of the direction that the department was taking.
And in fact, what triggered this was that our announcement that we had met, and after a consultation, we had agreed to go ahead and begin the monitored return.
Yes, ma'am.
Did it appear to you to be appropriate behavior for a grown adult in front of a child?
No, ma'am. I believe that the children have been exposed to unnecessary trauma, having their lives picked apart and not being able to trust the adult figures in this case when they have openly expressed the feeling that they cannot trust any parties. For us to further hinder and harm that relationship with the children and the people in the room, it was not professional.
Was Mr. Lee standing close to Mr. First at that moment when this happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he intervene in any manner?
No, ma'am.
That's all I have of Ms. Cheney, Judge. Thank you.
Any attorneys have any questions of Ms. Cheney?
Just a couple of follow-ups. Judge, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Mr. Ridley. Thank you.
It's been mentioned a couple of times that there's been lying from the adults. Can we be more specific? Which adults are we talking about lying to these children?
Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. So it was not the parents in any facility. We haven't had any reports of the parents lying to the children. It was the former placement and the former ad litem.
So obviously that's very concerning to the department, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever confront the Mertz about lying to the children?
No, sir. It is not in my duties to further that strain. Once we had the children removed from the home and we were made aware of the lying, I cut contact with the Mertz family because I didn't believe that furthering the negativity surrounding the case would be beneficial for the children long term.
Thank you. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody have any other witnesses other than Mr. Sturmer, other than Ms. Cheney?
I do.
Mr. Sturmer.
I have any other questions?
You have any more witnesses?
No more witnesses.
Okay. Mr. Ridley, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. McClure.
Yes, I'm very disappointed that Mr. First isn't here because I would have liked to have asked him these questions, but for right now, I'll go ahead and ask Ms. First these questions. Ms. First, after hearing what you've heard today, would you like to amend your request for contact with the Mertz family and withdraw that?
So basically what I was...
I'm sorry, yes or no question. Would you like to withdraw that now or do you stand on that?
How to say this right? Amend in terms of unfettered is not exactly what I was requesting. The lack of an intermediary, meaning it has to go through you or your office, is what I was going for. Free communication through Facebook, yes. Public versus private. I understand not doing private messages through Facebook Messenger, those sorts of things. But the way I was understanding is that any communication had to go through a third party before a response could be made. That was my concern.
And now hearing about the concerns about the Mertz family and possible lying to the children, are you now asking to amend and withdraw that request?
Yes, I will withdraw the request for anything unfettered in terms of communication.
Are you asking for there to be any type of communication with the Mertz family for the children and it not be supervised or be able to be observed by a third party?
I am in favor of, if they want to communicate with the Mertz family, doing so in a public forum where it can be potentially monitored, I would be in favor of that.
Okay.
I do agree that if there are concerns about...
I didn't ask you another question. Thank you. Did your supervisor support the request that you made in your CASA report?
I would defer that question to him as a signer on the report.
Did he sign the report?
Yes.
Did your supervisor support your concerns listed in the CASA report?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Did he sign the report?
Yes.
Did your supervisor support the recommendations you had in the report?
Yes.
Who made this request for the children to have communication with the Mertz family?
When I communicated with the children, Troy and Grace both, well, the last visit, Troy was the one that specifically said that, yes, he would still like to communicate with them. The visit before that, so December 27th, Lori had said that she wanted to still continue having communication with them. So that's where the request came from.
Did they request unfettered access to the Mertzes, or did they simply say they wanted to continue with it as it is now?
They said they wanted to have contact with them.
And do they have the right to have contact with them with some controls?
In my understanding, the communication is very strict. So, and the only communication, just to go back to something that Raven had said, the only communication I've had with the Mertz family.
I'm sorry, Ms. First, I haven't asked you that question. So you're saying that Troy requested, he wanted this, is that correct?
In questioning him about communication that had gone through to the Mertz family via text message, he did say that he wanted to be able to communicate to them. And my interpretation of that is that
hold on, I'm not asking for your interpretation. You said he wanted contact. Does he have the right at this moment, and did he have the right last week and the week before and the week before that to communicate with them through Facebook?
Open, yes, not personal.
So you're testifying under oath today that Troy, out of his own volition, told you he wanted access to the Mertzes with no intermediary.
Not in those specific words.
Okay,
no.
Thank you, Ms. First. I'm sorry, thank you, Ms. First. So did you reach out to any of the therapists or service providers or CPS or me and discuss this before you made your recommendation?
I have reached out to the therapists. I have not obtained any therapeutic notes. Did I reach out to you or Raven? No.
Did I send you and your husband the email address for two of the therapists that were willing to communicate with you on December the 14th?
I believe so, yes.
Did you ever reach out to either one of those therapists?
I reached out to... I have not reached out to Texas therapists, no.
Did you reach out to Ms. Hale, since she was the one that knew the children best?
Is that the therapist from Oklahoma?
It is.
Okay, then yes, I had sent an email to Ms. Hale.
When?
That would have been mid-December.
Well, did you ask her about this request? Did you send an email to her and ask about this request?
No.
Did I?
I do not know if you did or not.
Did you get my email that had a recommendation from Miss Amanda Hale and a recommendation from Miss Tamara Fields regarding this specific issue?
Unfortunately, I have been locked out of my CASA email and I'm still working to get into it again. And I did notify my supervisor of that lack of access.
Would it surprise you to find out that we have not been advised of that problem by your supervisor?
I have no idea if y'all have been advised or not, no.
So, so you did not reach out to any of the therapists recently regarding this request, correct?
Correct.
When's the last time you had communication with Kinsey Mertz?
Actually, I can tell you. She texted me was January 3rd. saying that she had gotten some calls from the school about whether or not the children would be enrolled for the spring.
Okay. So if you're representing to the court that you did not get a request from Kinsey Mertz for this.
That is correct.
But you also did not make it clear that in your opinion or your interpretation that it was only Troy that was asking for this.
That is correct.
You were very vague. You made it sound as though all three of the children wanted this.
Well, I didn't know if we were supposed to specify for just one or two or all.
So you didn't intend to mislead the court?
No.
But having said all that, you now realize that there are issues with the request and you have amended the request and you're no longer pressing for that, correct?
Correct.
Will you commit to not making any more recommendations without seeking out some feedback from the therapist?
Absolutely.
So do you now know that Lori is involved in lots of extracurricular activities, including church group and all of that stuff? Do you know that now?
Yes. When the report
that's not in your report.
Well, when the report was written, she'd only been in the school one day.
Okay, but she'd been going to church for a while.
At that point in time when the report was written, they had only been once.
And they had a bonfire the next weekend.
Right. So yes, there's definitely been some.
As a CASA, are you supposed to put in your reports concerns, but also all the things that the parents have done that are good things or the things the children have done that are good things?
Well, to be completely honest, this is my first case. So I was under the impression that facts of the case, concerns and recommendations were what I was supposed to put in the report.
This is your first case?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you seek out help from your supervisor often since this is your first case?
I have, yes.
And did your supervisor know that you were making this recommendation for contact without having any feedback from any therapist?
I do not know.
You weren't clear with him that you were making this on your own accord without any feedback from any professional?
I did not specify that to him, no.
Did he ask you what your basis for this recommendation was, and did you have feedback from a professional?
No, he did not.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Anybody have any more questions, Ms. First?
No.
No. Okay, thank you. Any more witnesses with Ms. McClure?
No, Judge, I'm good.
Okay. Anything anybody would like to add today?
Yes, may I speak, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was there when Mr. First was out there. I didn't observe him to be aggressive, and neither Ms. McClure nor the caseworker said anything to me or sent me any kind of email saying that Mr. First was aggressive in asking questions or anything. And I feel if they had that problem, they should have addressed it then instead of waiting until court to address those issues. And Ms. Mertz reached out to me and told me that Troy and Lori was sending her messages, and she asked me what to do, and I told her she need to reach out to Miss McClure and let her know that she was receiving messages before she replied to any of those messages. Did she reach out to Miss McClure? I don't know, but I did advise her that anytime she gets any kind of information from the children, that she need to send that text message or email to Miss McClure and let her look at it before she replies. And she did tell me that she would send the bowling ball, but they didn't know the process of sending the bowling ball back to Troy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anybody have a question, Mr. Lee? Yes, ma'am.
No, I just have some requests, Judge.
Okay. Okay. Let me write down something. Okay, Mr. Sturmer, what do you need today? He's gone. Mr. Ridley, what do you need today?
I think it's a great idea to continue the monitored return. The kids are doing great and the parents are doing wonderful.
Okay. I have that written down. Good, good. Okay. Ms. First, you need any new orders today?
No.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. McClure?
Yes,
I have contact. I have that address. I have the bowling ball for Troy address. One question I'm sorry I have for the ad items, Ms. Cheney. Are there any more personal effects of the kids that are left up there that they did not get?
I don't believe so, other than the bowling ball, and we can get that sent back down. The department
yeah,
can get
that putting that in order today. Ms. McClure, you were nodding your head like you think there are some more effects.
I thought there was more than the bowling ball, but they must have gotten some stuff recently.
Okay, well, talk to your kids, your clients, and see if there is anything else, because I'm going to order CPS to retrieve the bowling ball and the other children's effects within a week. I mean, at least make arrangements within the week to get that stuff back. I have no clue how you send a bowling ball, but I guess we can figure it out. So I know Lori and Troy are on this call. So if y'all think of anything else that y'all left up there, let Ms. McClure, let Ms. Cheney know ASAP so we can make a plan with the MERTs. Okay. Ms. McClure?
Yes, Judge, I would request, based on the obvious lack of CASA being diligent about procuring professional input, investigating allegations, looking into the best interest of the children, I would ask that you continue the previous order that gives them no decision-making in this case. Unless and until they can demonstrate that they're doing their job of investigating and following up. I gave them 2 email addresses on 12/14, and they complained they didn't get any information from therapists, yet they didn't do anything to get what they wanted. So I would ask that they have no decision-making power for the foreseeable future. Also, Judge, I would ask that I believe that these children are possibly being exploited by CASA in their questioning. I do not want my clients to be manipulated by CASA and their sneaky questions. I would ask that they not be allowed to have private conversations with my clients. I would like for those to be monitored by either myself or Raven, because I do not trust CASA in this instance. I believe that they have ulterior motives that are not in the best interest of the children. And until they can do the job that they need to do of investigating and looking for professional feedback before making these kinds of recommendations, I believe that they should not have that type of access to my clients. I would also ask, Judge, that you make it clear that any continued contact with the former placement would be inappropriate and needs to stop. Just so Mr. Lee does know, yes, I did contact Kinsey after those communications, and that's when we sat down with the kids, and that's when we came up with the plan of how we're doing it now. So that's all been taken care of. The girls I checked with just a week and a half ago, and they were still good with that. And Troy I checked with a week ago, and he was still good with that. So we have a method of communication with the Mertz family that the children are comfortable with, that is monitored, and that is kept safe. So I would ask that that no party in this group talk to the Mertz family.
What's the status of the ICPC on the maternal grandma, I believe, in Tennessee, y'all?
It was canceled as the children are placed home on a monitor return. It was approved in the past. So if we ever did need to reopen it, they've already completed their home study. But I don't believe the children would like to be placed in that home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to move the kids, obviously, but I mean, there's such drama, whatever issues that were going on with the prior foster home. You know, if we did have to have a backup plan, I was just wondering what the backup plan was. So I didn't know. Okay. Okay, I already said about the personal effects. The only other order, I'm going to say the monitor return will continue, like Mr. Ridley and I discussed. And the only other order, all other orders remain in effect. The only other order I'm going to add today is communication with the prior foster home to be supervised by attorney ad litem or the children's therapist if the communication is requested by a child.
Thank you.
And everything else is going to remain in effect. I don't see, I mean, we are about our next hearing. Mr. Gallagher, Ms. Fuqua, y'all have, we're almost done. You know, our trial is 3/27/24. Y'all still have your service plan. You have to comply. Your parental rights can be subject to termination. I'm hoping Let me look at the parents. They're not on my screen.
Judge, that trial date, that was the original trial date before the monitored return. You have not given us the new dates.
Oh, bad me. I haven't.
Remember, that was over the Christmas break and we didn't have a formal hearing. You allowed CPS and I to make the decision to start the monitored return. And so that March date, I believe, is the old final trial date.
Oh, man. So I haven't done a new scheduling order is what you're telling me, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Bad judge. Okay. Okay, well, change what I just said. What is the official date of the monitor return, y'all?
That would have been 12/27.
Okay. Ms. McClure, your clients are here. Do they want to say anything today, or did you want them to talk today or anything?
Well, let me ask them. Lori and Troy, if you would like to say something, give me a thumbs up and then unmute yourself and we'll hear from you. No thumbs up? Thumbs down. Okay. Oh, okay. Lori wants to say something. Go ahead, Lori. Let's see if we can hear you.
Are y'all mad at Carrie?
Mad at Carrie? No, I'm not mad at her. I am upset that certain things needed to be done before certain recommendations were made.
And Lori, I'm not mad at anybody. So if I was mad at everybody, if anybody, you would know.
Oh, we would. Trust me.
Yes. Let me say, I'm not mad at anybody on this case. I maybe ought to say that. There's always somebody I'm mad at. Okay. Okay. Our next permanency hearing is going to be 3/27. Our final trial is going to be 6/19. And then new dismissal date is 6/24. And I'll just throw 5/15 in there also as a permanency hearing. So we got 3/27, 5/15, 6/19, and 6/24 is the dismissal date. I will do a revised scheduling order later on this afternoon. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything else? Oh, Troy. Yes, sir.
I just got a question. It means, of my understanding, to talk to TJ, I got to be supervised by
by Miss McClure or your therapist. But now, what do you want to talk to? Is that the prior foster parent's name?
Yes.
He wanted to. He already has Facebook. As long as it's public Facebook, they can communicate, and I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I didn't understand. I mean,
sure. No, y'all can do that because that's what's the word? Observable, readable, stuff like that. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean like a messenger.
Yeah, as long as you don't erase them or anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let me put a little asterisk and approve that one. Okay. I'll say accept on social media. No one to delete. Okay. Understand, Troy?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And so basically, McClure, you're still, you're in this case. And if, Raven or the first or anybody or your parents, anybody wants to look at your phone, they can look at your phone. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
And let me just say this. That doesn't really have anything to do with just this case. I'm just old school. And I'm kind of the mean parent, grandparent that if I am providing a phone for my child and you're under my roof and you're still on my payroll, so to speak, even if you're in college and you're still on my payroll and you're over 18, all your stuff is my stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just a mean parent. What can I say? So anyway, that has nothing to do with the facts that we've heard today. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lori, do you want to say something?
So, what Miss Carey said, I did want to contact TJ about hunting.
About what?
About hunting, because I did promise TJ that I would go hunting with him, and I don't feel like TJ did anything wrong.
Is that you think did something wrong?
Lori, do you have social media?
I don't own Facebook or Instagram. I don't do that stuff.
Okay. I get it. Do you have a phone?
Yes.
Did you want to text TJ?
I'd prefer if it was supervised, if I could.
We can do that.
Just to see.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, because that's communication. I mean, communication means verbal, means written, anything like that. So yeah, if you want to text him and you and Miss McClure are there visiting and y'all text back and forth, that's fine. Sure. Or do it with your therapist, or I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. But it's good. I mean, and if by some chance there's something that goes down, on a, and your therapist or in there, just keep the text, okay? Like I told you. Okay.
I don't even know how to delete text messages.
Well, I'm not the smartest person in that regard too, but yeah, there's a way you can figure it out. So anyway, okay. Well, so I'm going to say no one to delete a social media or a text. Okay.
And to clarify, Judge, does CASA still have any decision-making power for the time being?
I think I limited that in the prior order, didn't I, Ms. McClure?
Well, if we're not changing anything, then I'm good with that.
I didn't change any prior orders. We're just rocking along.
Okay, thank you very much.
I mean, that to me, you are to express what the kids want, and CASA is to express what is in the children's best interest. And I think everybody's, I hope to get out of this case early, number one. And, when we have teenagers, we got ad litem, hugely vast roles that are different for CASA and for the attorney ad litem. So that's the route we're going in. I mean, it's different when you have a baby. Then everybody kind of needs to be involved. But we have kids that are they're here today. They're obviously fully capable of speaking their mind and what they think and blah blah. So we're good. Okay, parents, y'all understand everything? Y'all do?
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes, sir, Mr. Lee.
Do CASA have to be supervised? We don't have to be supervised by the department to go and visit the children, right?
I did not change that. No.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
But I don't want to. I mean, we're doing really good. I want everybody to hold hands and sing "Kumbaya" and blah blah blah. And I don't want a bunch of. I think we got over a big hump, getting the kids back home, getting everything worked out. Let's just get everybody on the same page and monitor this a little bit longer so then we can get out. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sounds good.
Okay. I mean, I really want, I want CASA to talk to kids, but I want CASA to make sure that to me, I want to make, considering how this case started out, I want to make CASA to make darn sure that the parents are doing what they're supposed to be doing, that their home is good, that the kids have, a clean, healthy environment to live in, that the parents have taken what they've learned through their service plan to heart, and that they're going to continue, and we're just not getting some glossy stuff, lack of a better word, during the pendency of this monitor return. And that's what I want CASA to sneak around and look and make sure all that's good. Okay, Mr. Lee?
Yes, Your Honor. And I commend the parents. They have been communicating and cooperating. If I reach out to Mr. Gallagher, he always reaches back out and he always asks me if I need anything. So CASA don't have any problem getting any information from the parents. If we ask them for something, we have a cordial conversation between two adults. It hasn't been any arguments or anything. If I ask for something, Mr. Gallagher has provided it. And if he asks me a question, I give him the answer to the best of my ability and tell him if I don't know that I'll get the answer. And once I get the answer, I reach back out to him. So it's no animosity or anything. I have a good rapport with the parents. So.
Good. Well, you've been on cases before, and I'm not saying that's just in this case, this situation. I'm just kind of been doing this a long time, and I got to just throw it out there. We got to make sure that everybody's putting their money where their mouth is, And CASA to tell me that this is a good environment for these children forever and ever. Okay, because I know what kids are going to say, duh, we know what kids say, but I need to know what's in their best interest. So, okay, that's a lot of stuff. Y'all be good. Everything work well. We'll see y'all on 3/27. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you be my aunt?
Can I be what?
My aunt.
like by adoption or something?
She's pretty awesome, isn't she?
I'm pretty mean, Lori. You might not want me to.
I'm sure I've seen worse.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can talk. And also, I need to tell you and Troy, anytime y'all need to talk to me or want to talk to me, Costas, CPS, well, not CPS because they're, or Miss McClure can always set up a time for us to visit. Okay.
They know that, Judge. We talked about it.
Okay. So it's good to see y'all. Y'all are cute, good looking kids. And I'm real proud of y'all and how well y'all are doing. Okay.
Okay.
Well, keep it up. Okay. And y'all, Laura, if you want to talk to me without your siblings around, we can do that too. I mean, we don't have to talk in a group, whatever y'all want.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Bye, y'all. Please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony? Oh, not y'all, Troy. You're good. We're on next. Yeah, you're good. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you. Is Miss Cheney here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
You're here? Okay. And Miss Wheeler, I have so many people on the screen today. Yeah, Miss Wheeler, you're here. Mr. Sturmer, you may begin.
Judge, in this case, we've got an unknown father that I don't believe has ever been served, so we're just asking that you order the citation by publication.
Okay. Is that all you need today?
Yes. I know that you had just had your UCCJEA conference, and the state of South Carolina has declined to exercise jurisdiction, so that's kind of where we're at right now in this case.
Yes, thank you. I needed to put that on the record. Thank you. Yes, I had some. Mr. Sturmer had difficulty contacting South Carolina, so it is south, isn't it? Not north.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was able to reach out to them, talk to people in the clerk's office, talk to Judge Sally McIntyre on 1/8/24. She agreed to confer jurisdiction as to Heaven to Coryell County, and she did sign that order, correct, Mr. Sturmer?
That's correct.
Okay. And all the we had certified copies. They sent us certified copies of all the pleadings, and Miss Trinidad was going to bring them to Coryell County today, but obviously we didn't make it. But they will be forthcoming. One thing that they did have, and I think Miss Trinidad did circulate this to the parties, was the DNA results from Mr. Justin Smalls, and the probability of paternity was 0, so he is not the father. So we had a bunch of mess about that at the beginning of the case. So we are going to proceed under the unknown father. When I was reading the reports, Heaven is in the RTC in the Fort Bend County area. It said that Grandma was going to go visit her on her birthday, and Grandma talks to her about once a week, but that's about all the contact that Grandma wants to have. Although Heaven misses her grandma and her sister. So, anything else, Mr. Sturmer?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Miss Wheeler, what do you need today?
Just a body.
Just a body. Good. This is a mess. I don't think we have any. I don't think you're going to get a body in this one.
I know.
Mr. Sturmer, what about Bio Mom?
Is deceased.
She is deceased. Okay, I didn't remember. Okay. I think in those pleadings, Grandma, I don't know if Grandma was ever named a conservative. I was just placed there. Have we served her, or do you remember?
She made an appearance, I believe.
Okay. And I'm not sure she's real concerned about it anyway. So, okay. Casa, what do y'all need today?
Everything's going good with Heaven. Demetria went down there and seen her last week, and everything is going good, and she's progressing since being at this new placement, Your Honor. She's doing very well.
Sounds like she likes it better.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Miss Mystic, what do you need?
Judge, I'm good. I agree with everything Mr. Lee said.
Okay. Okay, no new orders for Heaven today, right? Okay, I'm going to say cite by publication is approved. Final trial reset till 3/27/24 because our dismissal date is 3/30 plus time to do the cite by publication. All prior orders continue.
I'm sorry, Judge, that date glitched on my end.
3/27. Thank y'all. Okay, thank you. Athena is the child, the subject of this suit. Her attorney ad litem is Miss Dory Mystic, and her CASA advocate is Supervisor Sarah Beatty. Miss Tyler Locker is the mother, and she's here, and her lawyer is Miss Janet Gustafson. Mr. Jeremy Oder is Athena's acknowledged father. Mr. Jeremy Oder is incarcerated somewhere down in South Texas or Southeast Texas somewhere. He is represented by Miss Courtney Wheeler. The department is here represented by Miss Marquita Austin. Our supervisor is Miss Jacinta Mouton, and their lawyer is Mr. Chuck Sturmer. I think that's all the parties. Just for the record, earlier this afternoon, Miss Wheeler told me some information, and and I'll just sort of paraphrase. Basically, she's moving offices. She has a signed agreement. I don't think, is it a Rule 11, Miss Wheeler?
Yes, Judge, that I drafted.
Okay. She took it to Mr. Oder at his prison or his place of incarceration. He signed it. She just can't find it right now while she's moving. So we are going to put the agreement as to Athena on the record. So, Mr. Sturmer, do you need anything first?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Ms. Gustafson, you need anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, Ms. Wheeler, you're up next.
Okay, Judge. So per the instruction, because I had someone fill in for me at the last hearing because I had an emergency conflict, but per that instruction, this is the Rule 11 I drafted. There was some questions about child support, which I circulated to like Dory and Chuck to get clarification on. And so this is what I had presented with my client, and he has agreed to. The first item being that CPS is named TMC of a pending final report of the court.
T or P?
I might have written T, but with the understanding that the placement was going through that process to finish out final placement. Was that correct?
I think it's PMC because dismissal date's 2/12.
Yes. No, okay. I'm sorry. For Athena, it is, hold on, let me back up real quick.
Y'all are giving me heart attacks.
This is a complicated case.
Yeah. But I didn't click copy and paste, but I've read copy and pasted from the MSA, but it's very possible I made a typo. Either I made a typo or they made a typo in the MSA and I copied the typo.
Well, if we're going to do T, we're going to have to do an extension.
Yes. So I believe that's what we had to do because the placement has not been licensed for PCA purposes. CPS, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Say it again, Chuck. I'm sorry.
For Athena, the placement is trying to get licensed for PCA purposes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for right now, the department's remaining as temporary managing conservator. If our dismissal date's coming up, then I guess we'd have to take PMC and then modify, but
because
we do have to take permanent managing conservatorship and then modify for PCA purposes.
Because on 117, we had the rest of the trial. I said, Oder child, mom PC, department PMC.
Okay.
Something, I can't read my writing. I know y'all can't believe that. But
I believe it was just a kind of a misunderstanding on the reasoning behind it. I think we meant to say PMC in the MSA, but that we were going to be working through the PCA process. And so I don't really know how that affects Ms. Wheeler's client on that deal. Temporary versus permanent. I think the idea is still that ultimately the caregivers would have PMC. But if she needs to regroup on that issue with her client, we totally understand that. And I'm probably should have explained that a little bit more in the MSA. Just there's a lot going on with that.
No, it's fine. I think I have authority to agree to that. It will reflect a slightly different verbiage in the signed Rule 11 once I track it down, what box it's in. But the global understanding of the child is going to remain with placement. There will be visitation or possession access as outlined in the rest of the agreement. I think that I have authority to agree to the change of that one letter because the goal is, as my client understands it, is still the same.
Okay. Department, how far are we? I know we're kind of bouncing around. How far are we until we get to being able to close all the way around? Licensing, et cetera. What steps are we at? Where are we?
So Angel Heart has scheduled their pre-walkthrough. They've made a few slight changes, but the walkthrough is not scheduled to the 12th of this month.
Okay, then after that.
And then after that, she says that they have to come back to do an additional walkthrough, but she was unable to provide that time frame. She just stated that Angel Hearts is going to make it quite quickly after the 12th.
Well, I'm asking because, you know, we got to file a motion to modify. I assume that, maybe, you know, it's just kind of more of a pain, but it's doable. And I assume Ms. Gustafson and Ms. Wheeler would accept service on behalf of their clients for a motion to modify.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to lose that much sleep over that part. And I'm really thinking we'll probably just do an agreed modification order. Don't you think, y'all?
Yes.
Okay. That Miss Wheeler, you will have to probably go back over there again and get him to sign it.
That's fine. He's not too terribly far away. It's just sort of a pain to. It's a jail, and they're difficult to schedule anything with. All of them. I've never had my blood pressure read higher on my watch than anytime I've had to interact with the physical premises of a TDCJ unit.
For multiple reasons, I would think, but okay.
They get mad about my watch. How dare I have a watch?
Okay. Well, you need anything? What else do you need to read? Anything else on your Rule 11?
That was point 1, so I'm scared.
We're doing good. Okay.
Okay. Point 2, Jeremy Oder will pay child support of $178 per month, starting on the first day of the third month after he's been fully released from court. Court order confinement, including prison or halfway house payments, will go through the state disbursement unit. He will pay $25 a month cash medical starting the first day of the third month after he's been fully released from court-ordered confinement, including prison or halfway house. Again, payments will go through the state disbursement unit. Pending his release, he will have visitation with Athena as agreed with the caregivers, but sailing such an agreement on Sundays following the first, third, and fifth of Friday of each month between the hours of 4 and 6, which shall be supervised by the caregiver or agreed third party. Jeremy Oder, pending his release, will have visitation on Athena's birthday between 4 and 6 p.m. Such visitation will be supervised. The caregiver of Athena Oder may request Jeremy Oder to drug test prior to a period of visitation with the child. The drug test shall be at Jeremy Oder's expense. All parties are enjoined from discussing the case with or in front of the child. Jeremy Oder shall be enjoined from having any third parties who are not blood related or approved by the caregiver participate in visitation. So it's the exact same provisions that were mom's, I believe. I hope.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Wheeler, you need anything else?
No, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Gustafson, you agree with all that? And
yes, ma'am. That's okay. What we agreed to.
Okay, thank you. Casa, y'all good? Ms. Bay?
Yes, Your Honor, we do feel like this is in Athena's best interest.
Okay. Ms. Mystic?
I agree as well. Ms. Hyman's doing a great job with Athena, and I believe it to be in her best interest.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I'm going to approve Mr. Oder's Rule 11 agreement with the verbal change as discussed with Ms. Wheeler. I'm going to name the department Athena's Permanent Managing Conservator. I'm put on the docket sheet that Ms. Gustafson and Ms. Wheeler agree to accept service for their clients for a petition to modify. Child support and visits for Mr. Oder are and I'm sure those are the terms that are going to be in the final permanent order. Those are going to be approved. And our first perm after hearing is 5/1/24. Anybody need anything else? Okay. Thank y'all. Y'all are excused. The department is here represented by Mr. Brandon Vega and his supervisors, Mr. Mouton, and their attorneys, Mr. Chuck Sturmer. I hope I pronounced this correct. Jania Robinson is the mother. She's not here. Her attorney is Miss Michelle Cummings. The father is Mr. Ronte, R-O-N-T-E Ross. He's not here. His attorney is Mr. Kyle Dennis. The child is represented by Miss Martha Vasquez as the CASA volunteer and Sarah Beatty is her supervisor with CASA, and Yannick's attorney ad litem is Ms. Dory Mystic. Mr. Sturmer, was Miss Robinson or Mr. Ross served?
They both appeared at the adversary hearing.
Okay. Okay. I don't remember, but I'll take your word for this. Oh yeah, they appeared at the first one, and then I ordered to do the hair strand for the fentanyl and all that, and then we reset it and they didn't appear after that. Yeah, correct. Okay, Mr. Sturmer, you may begin.
Judge, can I go to a breakout room for just 1 minute with Mr. Vega?
With Mr. Dennis?
Mr. Vega.
Yes, sir. Okay, so Mr. Sturmer, you may begin, please.
Judge, I'd first like to offer the CPS report as petitioners 1 and the CASA report as petitioners 2.
Anybody have any objections?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, thank you. Petitioners 1 will be the CASA report. Petitioners 2 will be the CPS report, and they're both submitted.
I'd like to call Brandon Vega.
Thank you.
Can you briefly explain to us the reasons why the department got involved in this case?
Unique was unresponsive. The parents took her to the hospital and they couldn't really figure out what was wrong with her. The staff at the hospital gave her Narcan and she came back to herself.
And I know you're not a drug expert or anything, but based on your review of the department's file, do you have any idea what Narcan is typically used for?
Yes, it's for overdose patients.
Okay. And it's your understanding that after receiving the Narcan, the child came back and the child's been doing okay ever since then?
Yes.
Do you know if the parents provided any reasonable explanation of how the child would have been exposed to drugs?
No, I haven't had contact with them.
Okay. Following the department's removal of the child, have the parents had any visits?
No.
And are you saying that they didn't have any contact with you immediately following the removal, or have you ever had any contact with them?
After the first hearing, when they were court ordered to fentanyl test, I scheduled it with them and they said they would do it, and then I never heard from them again.
Okay. Did the department prepare a family service plan for them?
Yes.
Did they ever review the family service plan?
I'm not sure. I mailed it, to the addresses that I have for them, and I'm not sure if they reviewed it or not.
Okay. Regardless, the department prepared a service plan, which was designed to help them work through the issues in their life that could ultimately result in the child being reunified with them. Is that correct?
Yes.
But to date, they have failed to work any services on that service plan?
Yes.
And as you stated, you haven't had any contact and they have not visited with the child?
Correct.
And so today is the department asking that the parental rights of the parents be terminated?
Yes.
And as to each of them, would you say that by their lack of work on their service plan and their failure to visit, that they have constructively abandoned the child?
Yes.
And do you believe the department's made reasonable efforts to reunify the parents with the child through the service plan?
Yes.
And at this point, being that you haven't had any contact with them, you haven't been able to observe whether they're capable of providing a safe and stable environment for the parents. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the child currently placed?
The child is currently placed in Bell with the father's aunt.
Okay. And how's the child doing in that home?
She's doing really well. There's no problems at all with her.
What's the placement's long-term plan?
They are looking to adopt.
Okay. Have they already started the licensing process?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where they're at on that?
I'm not exactly sure where they are. I know there was like a small little task she had to do. The placement had the surgery that kind of put her off for a little bit. But I know they started it and they're pretty far into it.
And do you believe that the child is well cared for in that home and that they'll provide a safe and stable and loving environment for the child?
Yes.
So do you believe it would be in the child's best interest for the court to terminate each of the parents' rights today so that the placement can ultimately go through with that adoption?
Yes.
All right, I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Cummings.
Thank you. Mr. Vega, what attempts have you made to attempt to contact my client, Ms. Robinson?
I showed up at the 2 addresses that were on affidavit. One of them was Mr. Ross's mother's house. She said she had no clue where either of them were at. There was another apartment complex in Fleeing. I showed up there and we talked to the apartment manager, and they said neither of them resided there.
So you showed up to 2 residences one time each?
Yes, and I've sent mail like month in and month out. I've sent text messages to the 2 numbers I've had. I've called both numbers.
The mail that you've sent, are you sending it to the same addresses that you've already visited that you knew they didn't live there?
Yes.
Okay. Did you conduct any sort of, I guess it's a finder search or whatever the department uses to try to locate any other residences for them?
Yes.
And did it turn up any other information about their whereabouts?
Not their whereabouts. It gave me phone numbers that like might have been family or somebody associated with them, but none of the numbers ever responded, or they were just numbers you would call and it would say the number was out of service.
So did you attempt to call every number that you found?
Yes.
All right, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dennis, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mystic, anything on Mr. Vega?
Yes. Ms. Harmon is the placement, is that correct?
Yes.
And how is she related to Unique?
She's the father's aunt, so that'd be her great aunt, I believe.
And she's getting licensed and has a few more things to do, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the department's asking for PMC today because of the waiting for Ms. Harmon to get her things done, is that correct?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that she does want to adopt Unique?
Yes.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything on Mr. Vega? Okay. Next witness, Mr. Sturmer.
I don't have any witnesses. Any other witnesses, Judge?
Thank you. Ms. Cummings, any witnesses? No?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I read your lips. Okay. We're getting good at this now. Mr. Dennis, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
Thank you. Let's see. Casa, Ms. Beatty, anything you'd like to add?
We would just like to add that the child is doing great with Ms. Harmon. We do think it's in her best interest for the parental rights to be terminated and her be eligible for adoption.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mystic?
Yes, Judge, same announcement. Unique is bonded to Ms. Harmon. This is her forever home. And I would ask the court to terminate on the grounds that Mr. Sturmer relayed to the court and believe this to be in her best interest.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sturmer, you said in ground, didn't you?
That's correct. We haven't been in the case long enough for the O ground.
Right, okay. Okay, I'm going to find by clear and convincing evidence that termination of Ms. Janine Robinson and Mr. Ronte Ross's parental rights to Unique is in Unique's best interest, based under Texas Family Code Section 161.001B1 in ground. Therefore, the parents' parental rights are terminated. The department is named permanent managing conservator of Unique. Mr. Dennis and Ms. Cummings, y'all are released from further representation. You know, I gotta say, when this case started, I was hoping that they would do their hair test because, I mean, you know, this was kind of, to me, in my world, this was kind of a different kind of case. And I was kind of looking forward to seeing how it would pan out, you know, throughout the pendency, but we never get that far. So anyway, but, you know, that's obviously in Unique's best interest. The parents are going to step up. So thank y'all for your representation. I know y'all probably would have liked to have had more involvement too, but, you know, sometimes that happens. Our first perm after hearing is going to be 5/1/24. Anybody need anything else? Okay. No. Thank you. Y'all are excused. 16 years old. Her mom is Jennifer Adamis, or I don't know. I probably pronounced both of those last names wrong, but it's you already spelled it. She is not here. Is she, Miss McClure?
No, Your Honor. Apparently there was some misunderstanding, but we were able to text, and she is in agreement with what the department is proposing today.
Okay. Okay. So mom's not here, but her attorney, I think she's a peer, but anyway, she has an attorney, and it's Melissa McClure. The father is Michael and Gornett. Has he appeared, Mr. Sturmer, or has he been served?
I believe he appeared at the adversary hearing on March 22nd.
Okay. I didn't write down that he didn't, so that must mean that he did. So, okay. He does not have an attorney. We haven't seen him since then, so he's in default. The department is represented by Mr. Chuck Sturmer as their attorney, and the Ms. Raven Torres as the caseworker. Supervisor is Ms. Jacinta Mouton. Anastasia is represented by Ms. Dory Mystic as their attorney ad litem, and Ms. Megan Hill is her CASA advocate, and Sarah Beatty is her supervisor. Before we start, there's a lot going on with Anastasia. She's in, according to the reports I read, she's in out-of-state placement, and RTC cost report, I think, said something about a psychiatric hospital. I think the parents are not willing or able to take care of her needs. And so it looks like we're going to have to, obviously, in the department PMC and start looking at HSC slots or, something like that, because we're going to have 2 more years of her in the care. And, we all know that that stuff takes forever. So anyway, Mr. Sturmer, you may begin.
Judge, I'd first like to offer the department's report as well as the CASA report as petitioners 1 and 2.
Any objection? No? Okay.
No objection.
CASA report will be admitted as petitioners 1 and CPS report as petitioners number 2. Thank you, Mr. Sherman.
I'd like to call Raven Torres. Have you been in this case since the beginning?
I have not.
When did you get on?
January 26, 2024.
Okay, but you've had a chance to review the department's file regarding this child and the family?
Yes, I have.
Child's got some special needs and she's currently in a RTC, is that correct?
That's correct.
And do you think that she's going to continue to need that type of care?
Yes.
And from your review of the case file, this was a wrapper case based off of the mother's inability to care for the child with these types of needs?
Correct.
For today's purposes, we're set for a final hearing. The department is asking to be named the permanent managing conservator of the child. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you believe that that would be in the child's best interest?
Yes, sir.
And that's to ensure that the child continues to get the type of care that she needs?
That's correct.
Okay. I know the report asks for termination of the father's rights, but would the department be okay with leaving him on as a possessory conservator so long as his access or possession of or visitation with the child would be solely at the discretion of the department and the ad litem's for the child?
Yes.
Okay. And are you okay with the same label, so to speak, for the mother?
Yes.
Okay. Are you also asking that each of them be ordered to pay child support?
Yes.
Do you have any idea if the mother is working currently?
She reported to me last month that she's not working.
Okay. Has she worked at all throughout this case, as far as you're aware?
According to case record and discussions with Ms. Adamas, myself, she has not worked.
Okay. What about the father? Are you aware of his current employment?
I am not. I have not had any sort of communications with Mr. Cornett.
Okay. But regardless, for today, asking that the department be named the permanent managing conservator, that the parents remain on as possessory conservators, and you believe all those requests to be in the child's best interest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Thank you. Anybody have any question, Ms. Torres? No. Okay. Next witness, Mr. Sturmer.
I don't believe I have any other witnesses. I know CASA has some information / requests that I think that they would like to voice about the funds that the child may be receiving and how to handle that going forward.
Okay. And I'm going to need some sort of financial information from somebody about child support amounts. Maybe CASA can provide that. I got it from mom, but I know nothing about the father. So thank you. I'll get to CASA. Hold on. Yes, ma'am. I'll get you Ms. Hill in a minute. Ms. McClure, any witnesses or anything you'd like to add?
No, Your Honor, I'm good.
Ms. McClure, do you know if Ms. Jennifer has any other children she supports?
I don't know, Judge. I was getting ready for the other case today. I wasn't paying as much attention to this one. I'll look that up and I'll get back with you.
Your Honor, she does have another adult child in the home that is disabled that she takes care of.
Thank you.
Adult, over 18 or over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where does she live, Miss Jennifer? Just general area.
In Cove. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Torres, while you're answering that, do you know anything about Mr. Gornett's income, etc., abilities, background? Okay, Ms. Hill does. Forget it. We'll get to her. Okay. Let's go on and go to Miss Hill now. Miss Hill, tell me, you can just, we don't need to ask you questions. Just tell me what you know.
So I'm in agreement with the recommendations that we just talked about, but Dad, I spoke to him on January 25th. I think there was some difficulty with him and CPS, but when I told him I wasn't CPS, he was very cooperative. He is actively looking for work. He is currently unemployed. And he thought that he was doing what was best for her by backing off because he thought that if he stayed involved, they were going to try to force her to come live with him. And he didn't have the ability to give her what she needed.
Right.
And I think if we had been able to reach him, because I think he kind of shut off contact, we probably would have known that sooner. I think I got lucky getting a hold of him.
Hold on just a second. Did I lose our court reporter? Miss Fisk here? Here. Okay, Miss McClure, tell me again for the record what you said, please.
Yes, I was texting with my client, and she is in agreement to be named as a possessory conservator. I did mention that there would be child support, that visits would be, I understand that, you know, there needs to be some supervision of visits, not just with mom, but with dad as well. And I think that's for everyone's safety. So that's fine, and that visits would be as agreed and as requested by the child and as agreed to by other parties. So.
Okay. Okay. So Miss Hill, go back and begin what you, I said we didn't need to ask you questions. You would just tell us what your financial information. So why don't you just start on that again, please?
So Dad is unemployed. He is actively looking for work. He had no objections to child support. He does have other children in the home under 18.
Okay. Do you know how many?
We believe 2.
Okay. Where does he live?
In Bell County.
Okay. Do you know what his background is or what he's capable of doing employment-wise?
I understood that there may be some disability, but he's trying to find work, so I don't think he's trying to go with that angle.
Okay. Who now, Ms. Strummer said that there were some financial issues or some money that Anastasia's receiving that you had some information that we need to talk about.
Do you want me to talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, we had requested it prior. If she gets Social Security, SSI, and she gets child support, they'll reduce her SSI after the first $85 dollar for dollar. But if we have it ordered to go into a special needs trust for her benefit, she would not lose that money and it would be able to accumulate for her benefit to be used when needed, because the SSI would meet her basic needs. And but we would have to have that set up. And I think that Miss Mystic is unsure of how to proceed.
Okay. Okay. And you're talking about the funds of the special needs trust being the child support, not the SSI, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Somebody got background noise. Y'all need to stop. Ms. Torres, do you know if the department now has been getting her SSI, or do we know what's been going with that? Or hopefully the parents hadn't still been getting it. Do you know?
To my knowledge, the previous caseworker was working on that referral. I have not received the correspondence thread of where she exactly was at, but I am working on that this week.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions, Ms. Hill? Okay. So does she get?
And you're on.
Yes, ma'am.
I cannot access
sorry.
any. That's just me. I can't access anything right now because my Zoom is working slow. But as soon as I can, I will send Ms. Torres and Dory the information for the disability specialist. I know Brooklyn had been working with the SSI. I just can't access anything right now.
Okay.
So,
Ms. Smith, what do you know?
Yeah. Well, so when we were in the breakout room, Ms. Hill was explaining about, which we do know it gets reduced, but we don't normally set those up. So I got in touch with Jacinda and said, hey, we need your disability specialist. And that's what she was responding to is when she gets off, because Brooklyn has been working with one, not for Anastasia. Also, I would ask that when they find out who it is to invite them to, I think there's a meeting February 12th, a Zoom And it'd be great if that special, I can't be there, but Miss Hill will be there and she can kind of explain what we need. But I mean, there are fees involved. Parents are going to be ordered probably to pay some minimum wage or whatever the court decides on child support. If they don't pay it, I don't know, about where that money would come from, but we can cross that bridge. But it's something needs to get working on that.
I wonder if there's some sort of special legal form or, like I'm having a brain lapse from doing divorces. Oh my God. Those crazy retirement forms.
Quadros.
Quadros, yes.
Yeah, DROs.
I know it's quadro-ish, but
right.
It's same weird form, blah blah blah.
Yeah, the issue is going to be, as everybody knows, if somebody is appointed a trustee, what that fiduciary duty is and the time involved, and then that trustee to be paid as well, if it's someone that's independent. All right, go ahead.
My suggestion was, because of the situation, to consider using the ARC, because they have a pooled trust. That may be the way to go. But like she said, if they don't pay, there are fees, but I believe it's based on how much is in the account.
So her SSI would go in there, and I mean, she's going to need that.
Yeah, I mean, is this going to be one of those kind of cases like that we've had? I think we got one now that we're looking at dads being her guardian, or what happens if she turns 18 and we're not terminating parental rights. I mean, HSC, whatever that word is, slot, all things we need to think about with these type of children.
If it's with the ARC, the parents can ask, but the ARC can say no. They have to provide receipts and that kind of thing because they act as a trustee. But I anticipate that she's going to end up under guardianship.
And the ARC's in Oklahoma, right?
It's a national organization, so they run a pooled trust. So I'm not sure where exactly the headquarters would be.
This meeting on the 12th, is it with CPS or is it with the ARC?
CPS.
Permanency conference, Your Honor.
Say that again.
It's a permanency conference with the department.
Well, somebody needs to talk to the ARC or whatever. I mean, we need to get on that to see what the plan is. Because, y'all all know, of course, I'm going to order child support, but I don't want child support to go to the black hole at the AG's office. And, Anastasia needs a pair of blue cheeks, needs a bathing suit, or needs, different kind of deodorant. I mean, where am I going to order to be paid to?
Well, the SSI should pay for her basic needs, and then the child support, if it goes to the trust, it won't. The Office of the Attorney General will not pay the child support to a trust unless it's in the order.
I don't trust them as far as I throw them anyway. So, Miss Mystic.
Yes, I'm here.
What? I know Chuck and don't like this. I mean, what would be the matter with the child support being payable to you for now, and then we could do a motion to modify later, just until we get all this cluster filled out? Because I'm gonna start the child support now.
Well, yeah, she's not getting SSI now, so that's absolutely fine. The issue is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We have time, and setting it up takes time. So getting started now would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can get it sent. It's just we're going to need to, and I can't set it up through my office into my trust account. That's not the same thing. It's it's SSI people that want to see.
She's not getting it now, SSI?
No, CPS still hadn't set that up. I think they started the process.
Yes, Brooklyn was working on setting up the SSI, but it hasn't been completed yet. With the SSI, it hasn't been finished. Also, the SSI would go to the department while she's in a RTC.
Yeah, she's not going to get that money until.
Will that be put aside in an account for her, or is the department going to keep it?
They put this goes to pay her care, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Can we request that it be put aside for her?
No. It needs to pay for her care.
What about the $60 a month?
60. Well, I'm going to order child support to go for her care.
Okay. Well, the $60 a month is typically what is allowed for the difference when they're in like an institution. $30 from Texas and $30 from federal.
I mean, we can figure out how to do that. So, I mean, $60 isn't a lot, but I mean, I'd like to know how much SSI is going to be. I mean, I mean, Ms. Mouton, we've been in this case since 310, and it's not like the goals have changed a whole lot. You know, what's been taking so long with y'all's disability specialists?
I think that SSI just takes long.
There was a problem getting it started. She thought it was done and it wasn't.
You know, y'all, these kids that are 16, 17 years old that are getting towards that age and they age out and we end up with this guardianship problem and all this and funds that, you know, we've had this problem before in Coryell County with a guy caseworker, a whole different deal, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the young man's name, but, you know, and I think we're involved in one right now. You know, you know, if the federal government's just sitting on money, you know, they might as well be paying us or paying for her care. So,
you know, there was also issues with the mom receiving SSI benefits, and we were trying to figure that out. I think she was overpaid, and so that's kind of been a hiccup as well.
And they can ask for because it was not Anna's fault, they can ask for it to be waived, so that Anna can begin receiving it.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need cash medical to be ordered, Miss Mystic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. She's under Superior, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the only way we do cash medical is if she was out of PMC with the department.
I mean, I mean,
you can, but I'd rather, honestly, not the state take it and let the money go directly to her.
Okay.
For Anna. Okay. AG's not going to jump up and down on the Superior. It's if it went to them, you know, if somebody applied for Medicaid and we didn't have it ordered. So I think we're fine if you could just have it directly go for child support, whatever you're going to order.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And do we need Miss McClure to stay on?
Oh. Well, I love her, so if she wants to.
Okay.
Well, I love you too, and I'd be glad to.
Okay. Yeah. They need to say. And his care is secure. We think she's going to leave. Blah blah.
Placement will be unclear again. I think we'll be in the same situation when she's ready to go.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just. Okay. Well, we'll have to have another hearing on that. So, okay. Anything else? No. Okay.
Your Honor, I did want to update the court if I can.
Yes, ma'am.
I did go ahead and request a replacement Social Security card because I don't know where that went. Anna's placement is in possession of her birth certificate, and I have scheduled a DPS appointment for her state ID. I'll be transporting her to and from placement to the Gainesville office to get that done in April. But otherwise, we're getting on it with her vital documents. And as soon as I have an update from the disability specialist, I'll update all legal parties as well with my efforts.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Torres. Well, she just turned 16, so that's good. So we're on that. So thank you.
And the disability specialist was previously involved, so she'll know her case.
Okay. Okay, well, that's good news. I'm going to name the department permanent managing conservator. I'm going to name the parents possessory conservators. Ms. McClure, you stay on. I'm going to say visit for the parents as recommended by CPS and the ad litems. Due to the mom having a disabled older child in the home and the dad having a couple of children and in his home and nobody being employed, I'm just going to order $150 per month child support to be payable by each parent beginning 3/1/23, payable for now to Miss Dory Mystic. And I'm going to put for the child's needs. So Ms. Torres, Ms. Hill, Dory, if y'all know of anything that Anna needs, you know, like I said, blue jeans, whatever, then Dory can buy it. Dory can send, you know, I just want to make sure she gets it, you know. So if she, wait, I guess I'll back up. As long as those checks from the parents are in the mail. Yeah, okay. So I'm not really feeling it, but we'll see. Everybody stay on. Our first term after hearing is going to be 5-1. Thank you. Hoover, good report. Y'all excused. Mr. Sturmer, your witness is here. I think there's Collins. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, Judge, I think that I need to go to a breakout room with the department folks. And also, if you could put Miss Mystic in there with us too, that'd be great.
Okay, Miss Simpson, if you can do that, please.
She has a different last name. I just realized it.
Didn't I send you the video of her wedding? I thought I did. It was so cute. Yeah, she got married. I know, I go in between her names. I haven't figured it out yet.
Judge Mabray, can you put me in that breakout room as well, please? Yeah.
Yes, and Miss Collins and Miss Davis, you two, all you ladies. Okay. Yes. Miss Trinidad Simpson, if you can send all Miss Davis, Miss Collins, Miss White also. I think that's everybody.
While we're waiting, Judge, while y'all were having other hearings that didn't have anything to do with me, my filing cabinets were delivered and I found the Rule 11.
I think you put some books up too.
I did. I've like started finding stuff. So
where's your office now?
We bought a 115-year-old building in Dayton that with the construction of 2 walls, the creation of a new doorway will turn into 5 offices and a conference room.
Wow. So you can rent them out?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. How far is it from your house?
Oh, like I could ride. I've ridden my horse right by here before.
Oh, wow. Did I tell you my dog that they found in a dumpster was from Dayton? Did I tell you that?
It's not shocking.
Yeah, she's been here for 4 years. She was a breeder. She's a lab breeder. And somebody just had given birth to puppies and they threw her in a dumpster.
Yeah, so I don't have a ton of dumped dogs on my road. I'm not quite rural enough for that, but very, very rarely we will have one. And I mean, like, I love all creatures great and small, but at the same time, like, I'm also very strict on biosecurity and I'm responsible for being a steward of the animals I already have. And so I don't just like go pick up any little thing, but if a dog figures out how to get in the yard, it's now my problem. So I will usually, I put it straight in the horse trailer because I don't have any other way to quarantine it from all my other animals and my cats and whatever. So I put it in the horse trailer, I'll take it and get it a heartworm test and a rabies shot. And then I do what I can to relocate it. And I've been successful so far, but.
I'll send you a picture of mine in the dumpster. It was an apartment complex.
Oh, in the dumpster?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about an origin story.
A what story?
An origin story.
Oh, I know, it's awful. A rescue group in Houston found her. She got to the rescue group in Houston.
I have used, I think it was porch dog number 2, because like at the vet's office we just have like, there's a bunch of folders in our file that's like porch dog 1, porch dog 2, porch dog 3. And I think it was porch dog number 2. I was able to get connected with Rescue RMA, which is apparently like this socialism for puppies kind of a gig. Like they go to areas where there's an ungodly amount of unwanted animals.
Yeah.
And then they export them to places that have no stray animals because they've got like real winters and bears. And so porch dog number 2, I'm pretty sure went to Vail.
Vail. Yeah. The groups down here send them up north. I didn't know about bears yet, but yeah.
Oh, there she is in a dumpster.
Yeah. And she then blow it up. She was eating that rat.
Nice. Yes, she sure was. She got to the juicy bits.
Yeah. And it was apparently on the coldest day of the year, y'all. It was in November of 19. It was the coldest day of the year that y'all had. And that year, and some jerk did it. And then here's when they got her out and sort of cleaned her up a little bit and took her to Houston. She had heartworms, of course. She had, that disease, is it mastitis they get from, they take her babies away and all that. But isn't she pretty?
She's lovely.
She'd been in a crate her whole life because she'd been chewing her teeth. She didn't have any teeth left up here. She had heartworm. She had pneumonia. Anyway, so I saw her on Facebook and our lab had just died. So, Facebook's a good thing for that regard. So we got her like March 1st or something. So she had, after she got well.
It's a very, Animal culture is different down here. The way that, I mean, everything, all the culture is different down here.
I'm sorry. Courtney and I need to be sent to that breakout room with Dory and Chuck.
Did he text you that, or y'all just decided that on your own?
No, I got a text, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Simpson, if you can send the attorneys, please.
Hi, Judge Mabry. This is Kayla Chandler. How are you doing?
Hi, Kayla. Fine, thank you.
Good. I had sent y'all an email about possibly joining your court-appointed list.
I responded Monday.
I did not see that. I apologize.
I sent you the form.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Check your email, because I know I wrote down your email because I knew it was different, and sent it to you.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
Make sure, let me know if you didn't get it, Kayla.
Okay. I wanted to add in my my little street puppy story. So my husband and I eloped back in 2021, and the weekend when we came home, I was walking our two very senior, very large dogs, and this little puppy came belly crawling all the way up to me, and our big dogs didn't immediately hate him. And so we took him inside and gave him a flea bath. And my husband told me we had to take him to the shelter the next day. Like we couldn't have another dog. And so he's been our baby for 2.5 years.
So he didn't quite make it that way, did he?
He did not make it to the shelter. I don't know what happened.
I know. Don't you hate that when that happens? Well, send me a picture. I would love to see him.
I will. I'll see if I have your phone number and I'll send pictures your way.
Well, it can be on our list. If you need to be on our list, you need to have my phone number anyway. Or are your other two dogs still with us?
They are not. We named our puppy Drax from the Marvel Marvel Cinematic Universe. And our older dogs, one passed away about 7 weeks later. They look identical. So when I send you the picture, I'll send you the side by side of them. And then just in November, we lost our other girl. So our boy Harley made it to 13, and then our girl Molly made it to 14 and a half.
Wow, and what dogs are they?
Harley was a Catahoula, like a big Catahoula leopard dog.
Yeah.
Molly was what was she? A blue nose pit bull. So she was white and had some black spots. And she was just the biggest cuddle bug. That's all she wanted, was to cuddle.
Oh. And what did the puppy look like?
So Drax looked like our Catahoula. So we thought that's what he was. But I did the doggy DNA test, and it came out he's like half pit bull, which you would never know because he's tan and has long hair, and he's long hair. And then he's got the ears of like a retriever. So he's got Australian cattle dog, German Shepherd, Chow, Pit Bull, and Super Mutt. And he's just the most beautiful baby.
Yes, send me pictures. Is he striped or anything?
Not striped, but he has really pretty coloring. Like, so he's mostly tan, and then has a white chest, and then has kind of like a lion's mane that's black. And then his paws are white on his little tan legs. Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, well, I mean, that's kind of like deja vu. Somebody sent him to you, you know?
Exactly.
That's a cute story. We rescued
him. Pictures.
Yeah, send me pictures. I'd love to see him. Okay, y'all, what's up?
Nobody wants to talk.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute it. Judge, the parents have left the state.
Oh, wow. That's a new one. With the child?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Did you just say that's a new one?
Yeah. I don't have many leave the state with kids.
Well, this is not the first time this family has done this.
Okay, well, I to be honest with you, I didn't read the affidavit again because I've read it 2 other prior times, and I was doing good to get ready for court, just have myself ready today. Well, I did read all the other reports and all the other cases this morning. Wow. When that happened?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, sorry. My husband was talking to me. Oh, that looks good. So I visited, for, Ms. Collins visited what, January 16th? And then I've been texting mom because, kid wasn't removed, and I hadn't gotten any response. I really did not think they had left. I thought maybe they were just, I don't know. But when I saw kid at daycare, but that was in January, doing fine. And then we had the reset. So, it was after January 16th, right? 17th.
When did the department find this out?
Right now, today.
Courtney let us know about 20 minutes ago.
That's not true. That's not true. I told you a little sooner than that. I found out at exactly 2:41 p.m. and I received authorization to share this information with folks at 3:18.
They did not know. Courtney and Michelle, obviously, because we were in a breakout room talking about our contested hearing, remember? And then we get a text message. It's like, it now makes sense why nobody's here and reaching out. So
you know what this is going to do? I mean, this is going to screw up all y'all defense attorneys or whatever parents attorneys settings on participation cases to not let them go this long. I mean, no offense, but this is pretty crazy, pretty scary. So if, no, it's not y'all's fault, obviously. I mean, who'd have thunk it, but, we can, there's going to be some feedback, kickback because of this.
This is my first time too, Judge, and I think it's Michelle's as well. So,
well, it's mine, and I've been doing this longer than you've been born. So
mine too.
Yeah. I mean, because normally if we think they're going to split, it turns into a writ, and it's a removal anyway. I mean, we've done a lot of writs, but usually on removals. Do y'all know where they went?
I know that I will be adding advice against leaving the state to my future client intake letters.
Yeah.
Prior in the investigation where they left the state before in our history, Dad has family in Washington. So that could be a possibility. If we're not able to locate any information in reference to that, the family will be put on SysCal. So that if they enter back into the state and law enforcement makes contact, they'll contact her.
Ms. White, does that go to other states also?
No, it's just in the state of Texas.
Okay.
So,
excuse me?
Under missing, but we can't do it because we don't have custody of that child, so we can't do it in the United States.
I'm just going to say this because y'all know me. I say what I think. Gotta love participation cases because I don't like them. I mean, sometimes you absolutely have to, but I've never been a fan of them for a gazillion years. Okay, Mr. Sturmer, what is your recommendation?
I guess we don't really have a choice but to dismiss.
Okay. Just crazy. Well, the best thing I can hope is that the child is okay and some other state gets wind of this and is able to pull up some records and everything. So, okay. Very sad. Thank y'all. Everybody's released from further representation. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Learn something new, guys.
Sorry, Judge.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we didn't spend a lot of time. I guess that's why Mr. Sturmer wanted to up this one.
Well, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Bye, Tori.
Thank you. Lawyers, due to the time today, and I knew when the Docket came out that we were going to have a time restraint on this case today. We are going to swear everybody in, call a witness, get some testimony, and then hold on, y'all don't have to do it yet. And then we attorneys and CASA, we're going to go into a breakout room and work on our calendars and get a date for the recess to. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to say before we begin? No. Okay, Ms. Fisk, are you ready?
Judge, if it's if it's just really a formality of just sort of starting the procedure, we can just call an immaterial witness today and go straight to a conference, and that way reserve most of it. Because if we're gonna they're gonna present the main case in chief, I may have a long cross examination. I don't know that the court has time for that today.
Well, he's going to just stop, and the Mr. Sturmer's just going to stop in the middle of some testimony. I've seen cases where just a formality might not cut it for appeal purposes, and I don't want to go there on this. You're hired, I'm not going to do that. And we're going to go with testimony until about 4:45, and then we're going to go into a breakout room and do calendars. And then I need Chuck and Dory to go discuss calendars for reset of the cases from this morning. And CASA, y'all can go with us. Whoever's here for CASA and CPS, y'all can go in with us on all that recess, because y'all need to know from this morning's stuff too. Actually, what we'll probably just do is just go off of YouTube, and I'll get rid of everybody that's not related to this, not lawyer or CASA related or CPS, and call it a day. 3 little girls, and their attorney is Miss Dory Mystic. Their CASA volunteers, Rolanda Frank, and her supervisor with CASA is Mr. Kevin Lee. Department is here represented by Miss Amy Montez. Her supervisor is Miss Jacinta Mouton, and their attorney is Mr. Chuck Sturmer. Mom is Miss Mallory Mashaney. She's represented by Mr. Brett Pritchard's law office, and Mr. Jeff Linick is here today. The dad is Mr. Jonathan Berry, and his attorney is Miss Michelle Cummings. So I think that covers all the parties. So, Mr. Sturmer, you may begin.
Judge, I'd first like to offer the department's permanency/final report that was filed for this hearing, as well as the CASA report.
Any objections? Okay.
No objection.
Thank you. Petitioners 1 and 2 will be admitted. The CASA report is 1, and the CPS report is 2. Thank you, Mr. Sturmer.
I'd like to call Amy Montez. How long have you been on this case?
Since August 22nd, 2022.
Okay, so that would be since the very beginning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review the department's file on this family?
Yes, sir.
And I guess you're familiar with the reasons that these children were removed?
Yes, sir.
Are you also familiar with the basis for the prior case involving this family?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in each of those cases, did they involve similar allegations that led to the removals?
Yes, sir.
And what were the basis for those removals?
To be frank, domestic violence.
Okay. So would you say, in your opinion, that domestic violence has been an ongoing pattern between these parents?
Yes, it has.
Okay. And you believe that they've exposed the children to their own domestic violence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whenever you got involved in this go-round, the parents were asked to complete a service plan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you have a chance to go over the service plan with them?
Yes, sir. We had a family group conference.
And did they indicate that they understood all the services being asked of them?
Yes, sir.
And for however we all want to interpret it, they have completed most of the services. Would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And actually, they completed a lot of the services pretty early on in the case.
Yes,
I believe that a lot of these were actually completed in the fall and winter of 2022. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But despite that, is it the department's position, or what is the department's position that despite the parents' progress in services?
Despite their participation in services, there have been no behavioral changes. The dangers that existed at the beginning of the case continue and have actually escalated to cause the department to fear for the children's safety.
Okay, and based on that, and we're going to get more into this whenever we come back, but based on that, is that the department's basis for recommending that the parents' rights be terminated?
Correct.
Okay. Where are the children currently placed?
They're placed with a foster family in Georgetown.
Are they all together?
Yes, sir.
And what is if the court were to terminate the parents' rights, are the foster parents willing to adopt the children?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. Do you believe the children are well bonded with the current foster placement?
Very much so.
And that they'll continue to provide a loving home for the children if they are allowed to?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are they already licensed for adoption?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. Prior to the placement with the current foster family, where were the children?
They were in Kansas with their maternal grandmother on an ICPC.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they've been placed with those folks in the prior case as well. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Why did the children end up leaving Kansas with their grandparents?
There were several reasons. They did not adhere to the request from the department or to any of the treatments that the children needed. There was a lot of chaos, arguing and fighting in the home, as reported by multiple parties that lived there or that were there. And ultimately, Peyton received an injury early on, and then Kaylin, the baby, suffered a broken arm. And that case in Kansas was ruled out after we removed the children.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure this will come up in later testimony, but is there any other family options for placement?
Not at this time. I did request a diligent search. I did call all the numbers on the diligent search, and there was one viable option in Jonathan's cousin, and she ended up deciding not to be involved in the case.
Okay. And have the parents provided you with any other names?
No, sir.
Okay. Judge, I believe that's all I have for today's purposes.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Lennox, anything for today's purposes?
I would prefer to reserve cross-examination for when we come back, Judge, if at all possible.
That's fine. Ms. Cummings, anything?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Mystic, any questions of Ms. Montez?
Not at this time. I'd like to reserve when we come back.
Okay. Ms. Montez, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what we're doing about visits right now.
I would actually like to halt the visits, especially now that Mallory is aware that we are seeking termination after our mediation yesterday. I don't know how aware she was, although she did know the goals. Based on previous statements that she's made, I don't think it's a good idea to continue those visits.
Where are the visits taking place, etc.?
Right now, they're taking place. Yes, ma'am. Right now, they're taking place in the CPS office in Round Rock. And for Dad, it's wherever. Mm-hmm.
And Dad, you said wherever. What do you mean?
Wherever he decides with the HST. So they've kind of met at Hat Creek or a park, and so.
What's Hat Creek?
It's a restaurant that has a playground at it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe I previously ordered Mr. Berry to pay for the HST and the girls and everybody's food. Has that happened?
Not for the HST.
Okay. I think I ordered that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I order it?
You did. The one time one of the times that I visited or the times that I've supervised, I didn't want anything. But he hasn't purchased or bought anything for my HST.
Yes, I ordered that on 10/18. Okay. And how long are both of the parents' visits?
2 hours.
Okay. Mom's still driving down here from Kansas or wherever to do her visits?
Yeah, usually her mom drives her down.
And how often are these visits occurring for both of the parents?
Bi-weekly. So 1 week John and 1 week Mallory.
Okay, just rotate. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How are the girls during the visits?
It's a little chaotic. I understand in the CPS room there's really not a lot to go, a lot of places to go. So it is chaotic. It's really after the visits that they've been upset or that they've been dysregulated. They have the teacher for Maisley reported that she's been having really tough days at school after the visits, in particular with mom. And the reason we moved it to the CPS office was because Maisley was saying some concerning things that just sounded off, and we weren't able to keep Mallory in the line of hearing in regular outings. So I would say that it's tough for the girls.
So basically every week they're having to visit with one parent one way or the other, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where are they school wise, etc.?
Yes, Maisley is in pre-K. And Peyton goes to daycare every other day, so part-time. Kaylin stays at home with placement.
Okay. Does placement work outside the home?
Not the mother.
Okay. Anybody else have any more questions about visitation?
Judge, I have no questions about that. I would just strongly object to the department's recommendation to immediately halt all visitations on what appears solely on the grounds that their intentions is to seek termination. That has never, to my knowledge, been a legitimate basis for halting visitation. Visitation with a child is determined on other factors. The department can state from the outset of the case that their intention is termination. And I don't know when we're coming back to finalize this hearing, but in addition, this runs the risk of creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby then they're going to say, well, now mom hasn't even had contact with the children. So the department has every right to seek whatever outcome in the case they want, but their desired outcome should have no impact on the parents' rights to have visitation. Visitation has been occurring. There's been no issues that I'm aware of with that. Not to mention that I don't think anything's been stated to the children about visitation suddenly being abruptly halted. So I don't know what effect that's going to have. So Judge, I would strongly advise against it. I think visitation should continue as it has been until this court is able to make a ruling on the final disposition of the case.
Okay, Ms. Cummings.
Your Honor, if I can just ask Amy one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Montez, has Mr. Berry ever made any threats or anything that would make you concerned about him to continue to have visitation with the children as far as that's concerned?
No, and let me clarify, my concern is with Mallory. So I'm not concerned with John continuing visits while there's a pause.
Okay, so you're not asking the court to stop Jonathan's visitation at this time?
No, ma'am. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mystic, do you have any questions, Ms. Montez, about that issue?
I think you were about to say something about your concerns with Miss Mallory.
Yes, I'm concerned because Mallory has told me that she would end it all if we terminated or took her children. And based on the incidents that have occurred in the case, she is not afraid to yield a weapon. You know, she is not afraid to threaten or act violently. And I myself am afraid about after this court hearing, but especially for the children.
If the court continued the visits and it could be located, which I'm sure in the Round Rock area, there are some places that are secure places that have security, where, you know, it's a locked place, there's security. Would that be if the court decides not to?
I mean,
yeah.
That's
yes.
It's up to judge.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. I just personally.
As far as I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
And as far as the father's concerned, you said it's chaotic, things like that, but his visits are supervised. Is that correct?
Yes, they are. We do give him like semi-supervised time as ordered, but there's always a person from the department at his visits.
You would absolutely not be comfortable if you had some of the children by himself based on, and that'll come out in testimony, but based on previous visits of how he is with the children as far as being able to take care of them by himself. You believe there needs to be a worker there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I have, Judge. I did want to follow up one thing with Ms. Montez, Judge, I'm sorry. There was no child support ordered for Mallory or the father other than him provide the food and things like that, to your knowledge?
There was an order for Jonathan to pay child support. Okay. He made one payment to Nicole Hand, which is the maternal grandmother. But as far as I'm aware, he has not made any other payments. There was not an order for Mallory to pay child support.
Okay. Do you believe that would be best, since we having to continue this case, that they pay support until we come back?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's all I have, Judge.
Judge, can I just very briefly respond to the alleged statement that Ms. Montez is referring to, as I understand it, was made nearly a year ago at this point. And the department's had no issues with visitation since then. There's been no issues of violence. There's been no threats that I'm aware of violence during the visitations. There's nothing that I have seen that has occurred during the course or experience of these visitation periods that would raise any safety concerns. Certainly none have been raised by the department before now. Again, it seems to be the only basis they're raising is that they've now stated an intention to terminate rights that was in their original petition. I don't see that there's been any material change that would warrant a cutting off abruptly of all visitation. So I don't think that's appropriate, Judge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lennox. Couple things based on what Ms. Mystic said. On a year ago, January 15th, 2023, on an email, I ordered Mr. Berry to pay $300 per month child support beginning 2/1/23, payable to Ms. Mystic, and then she was forwarded to the placement, whoever the placement was at the time. So that is an outstanding order. And Mr. Sturmer, also I ordered on 8/2/23, I ordered Ms. Berry or Miss McShaney to pay $1,400 back to Coryell County, the rate of $150 per month for reimbursing the county for court-appointed attorney fees. And y'all were supposed to let me know at each hearing about the payments of those. So Mr. Lennox or Mr. Sturmer, do y'all know anything about that?
I'll look on the court's file real quick and see what I can figure out.
Okay. Mr. Lennox, you know anything about that?
I don't know offhand, Judge. I'm taking over this case from Kayla. I can certainly inquire into that, and we can, I think, notify the court tomorrow. What was it the court was asking? But there were payments ordered from it.
Yeah, she was supposed to pay $150 per month to reimburse the county for court-appointed attorney fees, $150 per month. So
how many months?
September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months worth.
Okay, so $900.
Whatever, yeah, I think so. Okay. I don't do math as quick as you do, but yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah,
that's my understanding.
It was a total of $1,140.
Okay, so it was an extra prorated month in there, maybe.
I have hold on. I don't know what Mr. Sturmer said because he kind of cut out. I have $1,440.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry, I said 1140.
1440.
1440. Okay.
Well, that sounds, I'm not disputing it. It just sounds like that's more than 6 months worth if it's $150 a month.
Well, I was trying to make it reasonable for her.
Sure. No, I get that. But if it was $150 a month and we're talking about 6 months, that should be $900. That's all. I'm not sure where the $1,400 is coming from.
Because that was the total paid to Mr. Glass.
I don't think she put it in date, Mr. Lennox. It was just $150 per month till paid in full.
Okay.
That's what she should have paid through now.
Right.
Okay. Yes. I realized there was well, again, I don't. So when we substituted in for Mr. Glass, though, I don't understand why that obligation wouldn't cease at that point.
Didn't cease. That's when it began.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. It's sounding like the meter is still running on the court-appointed attorney even after we substituted in for the court-appointed attorney. Is what
meter stopped at 1440 on 8/2/23.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
That's why a month later I had it starting to be paid.
Okay, all right, very well. I don't believe that's been paid, Judge. I don't believe we've collected that from our client, but I will check. And we'll notify the court tomorrow and confirm that.
Okay. That was the day the trial.
I think Chuck's looking it up.
Yeah, and I don't see any payments made in the court's file. Sometimes I don't know if that stuff though, and the clerk's office, I'm sure they've already closed for the day, but I can check on that later.
Okay. 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 Casa, Ms. Frank, what is your opinion about the visits?
Your Honor, I, like CPS, have been made aware that after some of the visits, particularly with Miss McShaney, the children do have some trouble adjusting back, sometimes to the rules of the home, but also just dealing with the emotional bit of going to see parents for a limited time and then not being able to see them after that.
What about visits with the dad?
There have been some issues, but just not as many. As far as visits with the dad overall, there is some challenge on his part with keeping track of all the children, and also relying on the caseworker or HST from CPS, relying on them to give direction in certain circumstances.
Okay. Ms. Frank, have you observed any of the visits?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay, with both parents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, let me think about that. It's checking the time. We're almost done. Ms. Fisk needs to be done, so we need to go to the breakout room and get us a date. Everybody else here on Barry, stay here. We're going to come back and I'm going to give y'all a recess date. Ms. Fisk, hang on just a second, and then I'll come back to you, okay? Case is recessed by agreement until 9:30 on Friday, March 8th. I will get with, I got to check for court reporter. I got to check for courtroom. I'll deal with visitation, all that later. It's after 5 o'clock and everybody's got other things to do. And I will send an email ruling and information around about that. So we're recessed again till March 8th, Friday at 9. I maybe said 9, but I meant 9:30. Ms. Fisk, tell Ms. Greenwald I'll get with her, and everybody on Barry's excused. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're waiting for her to log in. Natalie. Miss Sunker, you need to show your face. Miss Sunker, you need to show your face. Miss Sunker? Okay. FYI, my rules say everybody needs to be here 10 minutes early. Mr. Pritchard knows my rules, or give a copy from him. Okay, it's my understanding that Pritchard's office filed a ICWA type motion. So, Mr. Sturmer, where are we today on that motion?
Judge, we received their motion, I believe, yesterday. And we had previously done an inquiry into the ICWA status. I personally don't believe that ICWA applies to this case because I don't believe that these children are Indian children because neither the parents are registered members. But we do understand the court having concerns with they're showing proof that the uncle of the children is a registered member. And so if the court would like us to resubmit notices to the Cherokee Nation and request a new inquiry, then we're happy to do that. But we did submit, or we did file the letter that we received from the Cherokee Nation on September 6th, 2022, showing that neither of the three children nor the parents were tribal members of the Cherokee Nation, and the Cherokee Nation declining to get involved.
Okay. Anybody have an opinion? Ms. Sunker, what's your opinion?
Your Honor, I believe they just received that tribal card, membership card in 2022. So they needed to conduct a proper inquiry. They have their own methods of inquiry. When you apply, the dad has to go as well. That's Mallory's dad. And the brother got it done through there's a separate procedure that they have to go and apply for that. So I do believe they might find the connection now that they've proven that the brother and the father are members of the tribe. Both the grandfather and the uncle. So Mallory will also get a card. All she needs to do is apply. And ICWA only says that they must be eligible.
So when you say father, you're talking about Mallory's father, not Mr. Barry, correct?
Yes, correct. Mallory's father.
Okay, Ms. Cummings.
Your Honor, my checks of ICWA is that it wouldn't apply. Even if Mallory's brother is a member, she's not herself a member. They changed the rules not that long ago regarding ICWA. So a parent would have to be registered for ICWA to apply.
Okay, thank you. Casa, y'all have any opinions? Mr. Lee?
My advocate, she's going to speak because I know she's been involved with the kids more than I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Where? Oh, there she is. Ms. Frank. Ms. Frank.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I don't know the specifics of all the rules with this. I'm not clear on why, if there's a claim of the children's parent being a member, I'm not clear on if that hasn't been processed or why that hadn't been pursued previously.
Well, it had been pursued, but Mr. Sturmer's letters that he received from the tribe said it wasn't applicable.
Correct. I mean, I understand CPS pursued it, Your Honor. I'm just not sure the family member not pursuing it, if that was the case.
Well, it's delay. I mean,
okay.
It's lawyer stuff. So, and maybe they had to change, and maybe they had to change in the family situation. I mean, because I don't know if the father, we don't know if Miss Berry, Miss Cheney and her brother had the same parent. We don't know any of that. So, okay, Miss Mystic.
Judge, I agree. I mean, I think we could have proceeded today because the card was issued to the uncle in July, I believe, of 22. Mr. Sturmer's letter from the Cherokee Nation was from September saying that none of the children, but rather to be safe than sorry. I mean, it's been 2 years, and right before the trial, we get this. So we all know why that was filed. But I have no objection if we want to reset. I think we have about 60 days that we would have to set this to comply with the statute. But I mean, I think that we know why this was filed, but I don't think it applies either.
Okay. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff in the federal courts going on about ICWA and everything. So it's one of those kind of darn if you do, darn if you don't situations. Ms. Cummings, yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, just to further, the 25 U.S.C. section 1903(4), ICWA only protects American Indian and Alaska Native children, unmarried, under 18, and a tribal member, or they're eligible for tribal membership and have a biological parent who is a tribal member. So the fact that Mallory is not a member makes them where they don't fall under ICWA.
All right.
Even if she were to register now, the fact that whenever this case started, she was not a registered member, I don't think that it would change anything.
Okay. Well, it's probably rather better be safe than sorry, and especially messing with federal stuff. I'm going to go on and just recess the case again. I need the lawyers and CASA to go to a breakout room with your calendars so we can pick another date. So, Ms. Simpson, if you can send the lawyers and me and CASA into a breakout room, please. Berry children, at the trial is abated at the request of the written motion filed by mother's attorney based on ICWA allegations, and that motion was filed yesterday, the day before the trial, which was 3/7/24. This trial is going to be recessed again until 9:30 a.m. on 4/12/24, and I'll be in person, but does everybody else agree that y'all can appear via Zoom? I need to have everybody say yes.
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 Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Sunker, did you say yes? I can't hear you, Ms. Sunker. Did you say yes?
She's muted. She's muted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. May, did you get that everybody said yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Ms. May, you want me to call Ms. Greenwald? Do you want to look at your calendar? What do you want me to do?
Tell me that date again and I'll check my calendar.
Friday, 4/12. Starting at 9:30.
I'm clear the 12th of April.
Can you book me?
I will.
Book it, Dana, from a TV show. Okay, book me and I will get a courtroom, and everybody just plan on that. If the courtroom, surely all the election stuff will be all done by then and we'll be able to have availability. It might even be in the basement, but y'all are on Zoom, so y'all don't care. So anyway, we'll do that. And parents, you have a service plan, you have to comply, or your parental rights can be subject to termination. And we'll be in recess for today. I'll see some of y'all Monday on a different situation.